Hello there and welcome to this Beard Clipper video. This is a video where I'm trying to make things using very basic materials. I did one with making some hills, which was really cool. And this time it's looking at making houses. So I'm making this one, a little bit of help with Rosie. I have actually started a second one, which will be a second video where Rosie is doing everything with me. Unfortunately, everything kind of fell apart as I was in the middle of that project. And now I've got to wait until July for her to be back so we can finish it. But this one was me working on it and then she jumped in at the end, and hopefully it'll be inspirational to you guys out there who maybe can't get hold of like the kind of insulation foam that I use and those sorts of materials. You can get a really good result just using cardboard and a bit of paint and a little bit of imagination. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I love to hear from you. I do reply to all the comments, so don't be shy, say hi if you can. I'll stop rambling now. I really hope you enjoy the video and I'll see you again at the end. Right, I'm back with a pile of cardboard and I'm going to make another cardboard only build. After the success of my hills, when they were very successful, I've got a couple of ideas. The first one I'm going to do is going to be purely cardboard buildings. Now this is not something new, so I'm not going to attempt to tell you this is new, but I wonder if I've got a new way of doing it that kind of builds on top of what I did before, using roughly the same techniques to do non-playable interior. Because these are designed just for war games and you very rarely go inside buildings, particularly for things like Middle Earth, SPG. You're not worried about going inside buildings. You could potentially convert these to be interior, and maybe I'll do another one which does have an interior, but first of all I'm going to do one without. So what you want is you want to work out roughly how high you want your building to be and what size you want it to be. So I've got 2 sheets of card here. I probably only need one of them, and I'll probably keep that one, to be honest. So let's put that to one side. I can use that for the next build. This one I can use for making the walls, and this one is going to be the base, because what I'm going to do again is I'm going to clamp this down onto a sheet of wood, and then that will mean that there's going to be no warping. So I make use of these, basically they're shelves, that's what they are. And what I do is I clamp to the shelf, and that means that it's not gonna warp. So that's the first thing we're gonna do here, because then what we'll do is we can work out what size we want to do it. And to be honest with this, I can probably even put 2 buildings on this base, which might be quite a nice way of doing it. So I just use these clamps, as you can see, and that then acts as 4 feet. That keeps it stable and flat. So that's that. And if you want to, and I do, I'm actually going to put another one here, because I want to make absolutely sure this isn't going to warp. Put one there, and I'll put one there. So this is going to keep this completely flat with the wood, and it will mean that when I put water or paint or whatever, glue, then it won't warp and it will stay flat, and then I can cut out the base. So with that done, let's grab myself my ruler. And what we can do is we can have a little think about how large our building might be, and we can draw that onto this bit of cardboard. So 160 isn't a bad size, 200 is a nice big building. So what I might do is one large building over here and one smaller building over here. So I'm going to get that drawn up, work out my sizes, and then I'll bring it back and show you the next steps once I've worked out what my dimensions are going to be. Right, so what I've done is I've drawn out 2 floor plans, one 200 by 200, one 150 by 100. So obviously I will do another build at some point with an odd shaped, so like an L shape or something, because not all buildings are just square, but I'm going to do these 2 as square. The first one I'm going to do is going to be the smaller one, the 100 by 150, and I'm going to do that as non-enterable, so it's just going to be just a block. and I've decided that I'm going to have a go at doing the 200 by 200 with some internals, and we'll see how that goes. So the first thing I need to do is I've got, if I zoom out, I've got this sheet here. The 100 by 150 is just going to be a single story building, and that means I can make use of this sheet quite nicely. One story at the scale we do is about 50 millimeters for about 2 inches, 50 millimeters for one story. So what we'll do is we will cut, what we'll do is we'll do walls at 50 millimeters high. However, I'm going to get a little pad here and sketch out what I'm going to do and show you, and then I'll do it for real, not on camera, because it's going to be a bit slow and annoying and boring. So we'll just shift the camera around a bit, zoom in. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to make ourselves a bit of a flat pack house. So we'll have an end, we'll have a gable on it, and a tab on the bottom, and a tab here, and then we'll have our other one here, which will have the roof on it, which will be straight up and slightly taller than that, but I'll have to do the measuring, and I'll let you know what my measurements end up being, and that will also have tabs on the bottom. And then we'll have the other end, which will be like this, with a tab on the bottom. And then we'll have the second wall, which will be basically the same as the first, with tabs on the bottom, but no tab on the end, because that tab will join to there. So that's how I'll work it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that on drawn out and cut out. And I'm actually going to do quite a lot of the building up of layers, so putting on the door and the windows and whatever other texture decoration pieces I want to put on while it's like this, before I stick it down. So then when you stick it down, literally it's going to go plonk, it'll be in place, paint it, do the surroundings, done. So yeah, so that's 100, that's 150, that's 100, that's 150, with the tab on the end of about 1 or 2 centimeters. We'll add that on. So it's 300, 400, 500, about 520 millimeters of for that. I'm not sure about the height. I will work that out off camera, but basically that's going to be 50 millimeters, and then we'll know that's 100 millimeters that there, so we can work out the height of an equilateral triangle where all the sides are 100 millimeters. What's that? And that shouldn't be too hard for me to do when I go on the computer and ask it. But yeah, so that'll tell me how high that is, and it'll tell me that, so if we're going to do this as equilateral, which I think we will because it'll make it easier, that means that these are 100 millimeters high. So that actually tells me already, there we are, that it's 150 millimeters to do what I need. I just need to work out how tall the equilateral triangle will be on each end. If this side is 100 millimeters and this side is 100 millimeters, obviously that's fine. So I might cut it a little bit more. So we've got, so we'll do maybe one plus 20, and then maybe we'll just put a little bit more, just so that we've got some overhang on the roof in case I miscalculate. So if we cut that to 180, then so if we cut along to 180, and then we can get this whole shape cut out of that, and that will work. So that's the plan I've got for this first building. The second one will be similar, but not the same. So I'm going to get this done, and bring it back when I've got the shape drawn out and everything is correct on this bit of cardboard. And then we'll decide if we're going to clamp it. I think we'll probably end up clamping it and not cutting it out, and then cut it out once everything's glued in place again, just to prevent warping. So yeah, that's the next step. Let's see how this goes. Well, lots of measuring and lots of mind changing has been going on here. And thanks to Quinn from Quinn's Budget Crafts for inputting and helping me out with a pitch of the roof decision. So let's get that right zoomed in. I've got all the markings done and I'm just ready for the cutting, but let's focus in over here because this is where the interest is. So as I've said, it's 100 mil wide is the face of the building. It's supposed to be a low building, and when I did the equilateral triangle, it turns out that's just way too steep. I mean, look at that. I mean, if you're in Switzerland maybe, but yeah, I'm not drawing it for Switzerland. So then I've done 2 other triangles. I've got here, which is 45 degrees, and that's 30 degrees, and we've decided on the lower one. So at 30 degrees, the height of that is, I've got my, I remembered it until I started talking then. Let me just get that. So the height of it at 30 degrees is just under 30 mil, and the length of each of the sides is 58 mil. So what that means is this is too high, that's fine, it's not the end of the world, because I did forget something actually, which I'll point out. But this means that the height of this is, I've done that at 60, so that is the roof, the plane of the roof, with a little bit over, as I've said, for potential trim, which I can do once I come to assembly. And what I'm going to need to do is put on top of that a tab on one side, which I'd forgotten in my previous drawing. So if I was doing this, then I would not have actually had enough material to join these two together. So anyway, so that's what I've worked out. So what I'm going to do now is here is the tab side for this wall. So I'm going to cut along here, along here, along here, up there, along there, down there. All you can't see because I'm zoomed too far in. So yeah, I'm going to cut around the edges, mark in the 30-degree triangle there and cut around that. And then I've got the gap at the bottom for the tabs underneath the walls as well. So I get that cut out yeah, or at least get it marked out. I think I've said I'm undecided at the moment whether I'm going to cut it before or after I put on all of my detailing. I think I might leave it uncut until I've put like the doors and the beams and what have you on, just to make it easier. I think that might be what I'm going to do, but I haven't fully decided. But yeah, so that's really cool. So this is what you're looking to end up with, is basically the flat pack of the building, and yeah, pretty happy with it so far. So I'll bring you back for the next step when I get to it. As I say, I'm umming and ahhing and thinking a lot at the moment about how I'm going to do that, but once I've decided, you'll know. Right, so as you can see, I have decided to do the cutting out. The reason I did that is I've realised that what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically weight it down rather than clamp it, because I'm not putting lots of stuff all over. I'm not going to paint it until it's on the until it's all stuck down. So there's just no point in worrying about that for now. I'm going to be putting like beams, so wood things that will look like wooden beams, and I'm going to be putting the doors and the windows on, and that's it. So yeah, there was no point in clamping it, so I cut it all out. So for this one, I'm going to work the beams in cardboard. I will use different techniques on the other ones. For this one, I'm going to use them in cardboard. And here I've got a nice corrugated but not thick corrugated card or envelope, which is what I'm going to use for all of my wooden things. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure. I know that's 5 centimeters, 50 mil. So I'm going to cut a strip 50 mil off, and I'm going to cut thin strips out of it, which I will use to do uprights, because that's how I want to do it. And I'm going to plaster in the middle. So I'll probably do, I'll measure this, that's 100, that's 150. So if I do them 50 apart, that makes it nice and easy. 1, 2, 3, and then another one there, 4 on here, 3 on here, and 4 on here. So they'll be nice and equidistant. So that's what I'm going to do first, get those glued down, and then I will put a door in one and a window between those gaps, and potentially the same sort of thing, so maybe another window on the back, and no windows on the ends, I think, or maybe one window on one end and not on the other. So I'll have one door and a bunch of windows, and all it will be is done with cardboard. So the first thing to do, as I say, is to get a strip, 50 mil, 5 centimeter high strip, cut out of this, and then cut into probably 5 mil, half a centimetre wide, and then I'll get them glued down, and I'll show what it looks like when I'm coming to the glue in. So let's get some cutting done, bring you back in a second. Right, so we're set now to start gluing these down here on my strips. I've also already cut out the tabs, just thought I'd do that while I was there, and I've measured in the middle and then every 5 centimeters across on these, so we should be good to go. And got weights, and as you can see, I've got it on one of my shelves with the clamps to act as feet, just to make it so I can pick it up, because with those weights on it, it's quite heavy. So I won't film all of this because it's going to be a little bit repetitive, but the idea is we get a strip, we put some glue on it, just using normal PVA, don't need too much, and then put it down where you want it to go, like so. There we are. And then once I've done all these, I'll put the weight on it as early as I can, so that it doesn't, so that it actually gets pressed down and doesn't lift and be annoying. So yeah, it's not going to take very long to do this, but like I say, I won't film it all. You've seen basically everything I'm going to do now. So I'll be back when I come to do the doors. I'll leave this to dry overnight. We'll do the doors and the windows at the same time. I'm actually thinking that I haven't done enough of these, because I think I need 3 on here and 1, 2, 3, 4. Or maybe I have done enough. Maybe I have done enough. Right, I'll quickly show you my first weight. Get to the first weight section. So let me just get this done, and I'll show you what it looks like when we've got the weights on. There we are. So we can put, actually only on those first 4. So we can put weights on those first 4, and then I'll keep going along, weight it down as I go on them, and then that will mean that they'll dry nice and flat and solid. I'll bring you back when I come to the next step, which will be doors and windows. Right, so we have the doors and windows all done on this now. So the next thing I'm going to do is very carefully score down these lines where I want the folds to take place. Being very careful not to cut right the way through, obviously. Like so. I've missed a piece there and I've missed a piece there. Right, so I might have to get those stuck in, but let's see how it looks. Because what we can now do is bend it, and bend it. Let's zoom out a little bit, and bend it. And you can see we have a lovely square house. So the next thing I'm going to need to do is, oh, I didn't score that well enough. The next thing I'm going to need to do is score along all the edges of the tabs. So I'll get that done. I'll use a ruler for that to make sure that that they are done straight. Yeah, that's better. To make sure they're done straight. And then when I've finished doing that, I'll bring you back and we'll get this glued down onto the board at the back. And yeah, making some good progress. So yeah, let's get the rest of these scores done. Alright, so all of the cutting and bending and all sorts of stuff, including for this roof, has been done. So my tabs are all going inside, like so. And then that tab is going to be the one that holds it as a square. So the way that I'm actually going to do it is I'm going to glue as a square first, clamp it in place, let that set, and then once that's set, it will still be flexible, and then I will come along and I will glue it down to the base. So for this, I am making use, hopefully, if it's not all gone off. It hasn't, it's just the lid's stuck to the thing. God dear. Get that all cleaned off. I'll get that cleaned off when I'm not on camera. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of my copy decks, which I really like for this purpose because it's grabby and flexible, so it's good. I'm going to need to clean that really bad, really desperately going to need to clean that. So what we'll do is we'll just pull this round, get this nice and lined up, and then clamp it in place. And it does set quite quickly, so it won't be long before I can do the next step. So I'm going to clean up my pot, and I'll bring you back in a few minutes, maybe half an hour or so, when I'll do the next step on this. Right then, that's dried really nicely. So what I'm going to do now is stick this down to its base. So once again, making use of my copy decks, I'm going to slap that on, and because this is so grabby, as you're going to see just exactly why I like this. There we go. Because this is so grabby, all I'm going to need to do is press it in place, and I'm going to need to make sure that I have it lined up nicely before I set it too firmly down, otherwise we'll have a not square building, which is not what you want. So we'll get one thing square, press it down, and as you shove it down onto the bottom, it grabs, as you can see, really nicely. So that's going to go like that. There we are. That's going to go there. And that is going to be pressed down like that. And we have very nearly, there we are, got it. There it is. So we have a building stuck to the base. So you can see that my roof is going to work really, really nicely. It might have been a mistake putting so much of an overlap on that, to be honest. If you look, that's going to cause it to be a little bit odd. And there we are, I've just realised that, I should have checked that before I glued it down. We're going to have gaps here unless I continue that. It's going to be fun. We'll do that together. So I'm going to have to trim that along, probably use scissors, and I'm probably going to have to cut the tabs off and use separate tabs. So there's a learning curve for you. What I should have done is had the tabs not cut out and not bent, assembled the square, and then come along, marked exactly where to cut it, because I deliberately did a little bit of an overlap, and then that will work. So we'll do that the next time on the next build that I'm working on the next house. But for this one, it's going to be a little bit of a pain, a little bit of a faff. I'm just going to have to trim that down and then use a separate bit of card as our tab. But anyway, that's enough of that muttering. Let's let that to set. And the next thing I'll do once that's set is actually cut it out from this, I think, and put it onto a different piece of wood to support it, because that's going to be really annoying having it on the whole one. And then I might start building my second house with what I've learned here, just to get it rocking and rolling. But anyway, made a little bit of progress, pretty pleased with that. Right, let's save this. So what we need to do is take a mark pencil and mark where it touches, or where the apex is exactly on this cross piece, like so. There we are. And then do the same for the other one. So fold it down, find the apex. Hard to do this when you're filming. Do that. And that. And then what I'll do is I will draw a line across those and cut that across completely. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do after that. So I'll get that done off camera, because it's not going to be very easy to keep it in shot. So draw a line between those two and cut along. Line between those two and cut along. And then I'll be back and show you how we're going to glue this in place. It is going to be an okay save, and it will end up looking fine. And then we'll have our basic house building, and then it'll be a case of the finishing off. It's really, really quick, this. It's not taken me more than about half an hour of hobby time, less than that probably, to do all of this. Well, there we are. That didn't take very long at all. And I did actually end up just using scissors, which I don't use very often. So I've just trimmed those edges off. So we don't have any tabs anymore. So what we're going to do about that? What I've done is I've just got some offcuts that I do save offcuts. I don't save them all, but I do save some. Just got some offcuts. And for this, I'm just going to use PVA, because I don't need it to be as grabby. Not at this stage. And my PVA is very watery, so I've accidentally just poured out enough PVA onto that one to do both. So we'll do both. There we are. So get your PVA onto your tab. And this is where you need clamps, because what we're going to do is going to glue one on each side. So we'll end up with roughly the same layout as we had before. It's just these aren't going to be, these aren't pre-attached on one side, so we need to glue them on both sides, but it's okay. So what we'll do is we'll glue them in place like that. There we are. And then when that's dried, which will take not very long, PVA dries quite quickly actually, what we'll be able to do is we'll come over, we'll fold these down, and I'll put my I'll put the copy decks onto the other side, because then it will need to be grabby, and then that will then act as and that'll be able to glue these flaps in place, and we'll be done. So yeah, I'll let that dry now, and then next time we come back, we will be looking at. I'll get all that done off camera. There's no point in filming that. Obviously, you've seen me use copy decks. Next time we come back, what I'll be doing is starting to texture and add on the paint and make it look a little nicer. I'm pretty pleased with it. There's a couple of extra bits I need to do as well. So I need to put a beam across here, so the same side of this I need to put across there, or maybe between here and between here, and here and here and here and here, and here and here as well. So I'll probably get that done also. That's something that I've missed. Would have been much easier obviously to do that while it's flat, because I can then put a weight on it, which is why I put these on while it's flat. So there's something to not make a mistake. Don't just do your uprights, do the bits that go across there if you want to have bits across there, or up to the apex, whichever it is you want to do. I made a mistake there. I make lots of mistakes, as you will have seen, but we'll get that fixed as well. So I'll get those things done now, because I'll be able to glue it in and clamp it basically while the roof isn't shut. So I'll get that done and come back later with the next steps. Well, there we are, that's glued, and I just thought I'd do a quick clip showing how I managed to weight it down. So I got these are my carpenter's squares, and they're just nicely hooked over the ridge, and you can see that is now done. So I will be doing a roof over the top of this. It won't look like that, it will have a slight overhang and all that stuff, so don't worry about that. But yeah, that's constructed, and as I say, it didn't take me very long in terms of actual elapsed time. Hobbying, a really nice easy technique. I will now mix up some grout mix, and we'll show you how I do that. Well, I won't show you because there's a video link in the description of every single one of my videos showing how to make the grout mix. I'll do a quick overview, and what we'll do is we'll paint that on all the gaps, paint up the wood, put the roof on, and then do the surround. So we're really cracking on. It won't take very long now, probably another 10 minutes or 15 minutes of hobbying tops, and this building will be completed. Okay, so a bit of a think about what the next steps are, and actually I think what the next step is what I'm about to do. I'm going to paint in the beams, and I'm painting this with my Winsor & Newton raw umber. So the reason for doing it this way around is not when I make a mistake and go over like I just did there. It's going to be very easy for me then to cover that over with the grout mix, rather than do it the other way around and then having to try and touch up the grout mix. This just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go around and paint all of these bits of wood, all of the surrounds of the door, of the windows, the surround of the door, and then once I've finished the painting, then I will look to do the grout mix. So I'll get that done and show you what it looks like when it's finished. So another lesson learned here. What I probably should have done is done this painting before while it was still flat, before I folded it up, because it just made it easier. I mean, it hasn't been too difficult, but it would have been easier if I'd have done it while it was still flat. So there's another little lesson learned. Just thought I'd share that with you. But that's done. So the next thing to do is going to be to either paint the doors and the windows, or put the grout on. But I haven't got time now, so I'll come back to that a bit later on. So I've mixed up some of my grout mix, but for some reason the PVA in my bottle is really liquid, which it shouldn't be, and so this is mixed up very liquid. So I'm not entirely sure whether this is going to work. We're going to give it a try, and I'm going to show you how. As I said, there's a video in the description of how I make it, but it basically is tile grout mixed with some dirt that I collect locally, a PVA, and a little bit of water, but not very much water. You don't want it to be this liquid at all, really. So what we're going to have to do is apply it in a slightly different way, by dabbing it on rather than by brushing it on. I'm not too worried about getting anything on the base, because I'm going to be building that up with more texture anyway. But as you can see, even already it builds up a really nice stucco or very good textured effect, because it's got the dusty sand in it and also the grout. And it does actually work to as a kind of to solidify things as well. So it will make the whole thing more hard wearing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in all the way around all of the building, including up here, and let it dry. The mix that I make here does stay good for quite a long time if you put it in the fridge. So I'll be able to put this mix in the fridge and then come back and do a second coat, which I probably will do, and hopefully by that point it won't be quite so runny, so a bit easier to apply. But yeah, we're, as you can see, even with it being as runny, I am able to get a nice effect close to what I'm attempting to achieve. So yeah, just going to spend the next 5 minutes or so just putting this on over the whole thing, and I'll be back to show what it looks like when I come to the second coat. So yeah, let's just carry on with this. I'll turn the camera off now because it's basically going to be what you've just seen repeated all the way around the rest of the building. So I was just walking past and I saw this and I thought I'll get a quick clip. This is just the layer that you saw me put on yesterday. I haven't done a second layer yet, though I am going to in places. Some of it's a bit thin, but you can just see just what a fantastic texture this gives, really simply. The light coming in is perfect to show it off, which is why I caught sight of it and thought I'd do the clip. So this is just one layer, just one coat, very thin coat of the grout mix, and yeah, just brilliant, love it. So yeah, so I'm going to do another coat, I think, maybe not over all of it. This side looks perfect, but if we turn it around, that side isn't quite as good. I might do it over all of it, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll get that done, show what it looks like when it is all got its second coat, and then we will have a look potentially at the roof or painting the windows and the door. That's the next things to do. We're really cracking on through this now. Right, I've decided that the first thing that I want to do on this is actually painting the door, which is going to take absolutely no time. I probably need a smaller brush actually. This might be a bit of a big brush, but I wanted to go with a nice ruby deep red door, because I think that goes very nicely against the texture that we've got. So we'll get that done. I haven't got time now, that's literally all the hobby time I've got. This is how crazy things are at the moment. But when I get a little bit more time a bit later on, we'll do the windows, and they'll be done with like a grey blue, and then yeah, we'll be making really good progress on this, and we'll have to start thinking about doing the roof. So yeah, a little bit more done. Alright, so now it's time for the windows, and I'm just going to make use of this blue paint. This is just blue house paint. And it's going to be a two-stage process. So first of all, we're going to paint the blue paint on, and then after that I'm going to come with a watered down grey to put some stripes and a little bit less shocking. But I'm trying to do this simply, so I don't mind if it's a little bit stylised, but I will be coming in a little bit to kind of make a little bit less of it look like just blue curtains on the inside. Though I suppose I could just leave it and say it's blue curtains, couldn't I? But anyway, simply paint these up, and we are really rapidly approaching the time for doing the roof, and I've been having lots of thoughts about that, and I've got some nice ideas, so hang around for that, because I think it's going to work out really nicely. These sampler pots you get are really good for hobbying, for doing stuff like we do, because you never need all that much paint, and paint always dries out once you've opened it. There seems to be no way of really stopping it from doing that. So there's far less waste when you use these little samplers. As you can see, I'm literally just putting my paintbrush in the lid. Means I'm less likely to knock the bottle over. Right, so that's that done. Near enough, one more to do. So we'll let that dry, and then I'll bring you back when I'm going to come and do the little bit of kind of of highlights, I suppose you might want to call it that, with some light grey and white. So we'll see how well that goes. If that ruins it, then I'll just paint them blue again. There we are. Right, so bring you back in a couple of seconds in your time and a couple of minutes in mine. Right, this is where we find out whether my creativity outmatches my ability. So got a formula for it. So I've got some light grey paint, and what I'm going to try and do is just put some stripes down to make it look like a window. Don't know if it's going to work. Might do. Let's see. I have not had very much time for hobbying recently. Things are going crazy, business and personal life. But what little I am doing, I'm enjoying. I think that works quite well as a simple effect. Cool. So we're going to keep doing this, and then it'll be for the roof, and then will be the scenery on the outside. and then it's done. And then I'll start the other one, which I haven't started on, because I haven't had time. Life's busy. There we are. I think that looks quite nice. Just a little effect. I'll check it out in the morning after it's dried. Might do it again. But yeah, pretty cool. After quite a long time, I'm so busy. I'm going to get on with the roof now, and I'm going to show you the idea that I've got for this. So I've just finished a pack of Weetabix, and rather than put it in the recycling to be recycled by someone else, I'm going to recycle it myself as the roof for this building. Now, I'm not going to do this in the normal traditional way that you see people doing roofs, which is to do a strip, cut slices. I mean, I've done that over and over. What I'd like to do is something that's a little bit closer, and I don't know what this will be a first idea, the first attempt, and I might improve it as I go, but the first idea is to do basically a stone roof. We have a lot of those over here, and how I'm going to do that, I'm going to do a little bit on camera, and then the rest I'm just going to kind of potter away at my desk. So let's just cut a little bit of this out because it's been a bit annoying. So we've got ourselves a little bit of cardboard, and what we're going to do is cut it into squares and then kind of round the edges off, get rid of all of the all straight edges. It can be kidney shaped, it can be lozenge or whatever, but it needs to be smooth shapes. And I'm going to end up with loads and loads of these, so that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm just going to stick them all the way across. Now, they're not going to be very thick, which is a problem. However, I want to see what it looks like, and I will, as I said, I will enhance and improve this technique with practice. So this is the first idea. So the time is going to be spent cutting these out like this. So I'm just going to sit at my desk. I'll probably do it while I'm working, when I'm on meetings or what have you, and I'm going to cut probably 100 of these out, I reckon. So we've got 4 already. So once I've got all those cut out, I'll bring you back and we'll start gluing them on. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we can paint it. So yeah, really hope this works. This is the idea that I've had for a little while of how to do this, and like I say, it is an experiment. So I'll be back shortly in your time, and probably several days in mine, knowing me and how I am at the moment. And we'll yeah, see how that goes, see how that turns out when we glue them on. Right, so I've sat various times over the last week or so, and I've cut up a load of this cereal box. So what I'm now going to do is just take this randomly. I think they're all probably around the right size. And what we're going to do is paint some PVA glue on here, like this, and start layering them up. So we'll just find one and we'll slap it on. And then a little bit of PVA for the overlap, because each one's going to overlap across, and then we'll put that on. So that is the process that I'm going to do now. And I'm just going to do a bit now because I've got a little bit of time now, and I'll do a little bit more later and a little bit later, and over time this will build up. Now I don't know if I've got enough, if I've cut enough of these shapes or not, but I guess I'll find out, won't I? So I've already knocked it. There we are. Already knocked it. Need to be quite careful. The good thing with PVA is it does dry quite quickly, really. So if I stick this in the sun somewhere, this should dry on nicely. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit tedious. I think there was a comment about how tedious it'll be. It'll be a little bit tedious, but fortunately I've not cut them very small. Deliberately cut them quite large because that matches the size of the stone buildings that we get here. So yeah, I'm not trying to make it neat or ordered or anything like that. So the fact that it's going to be a bit raggedy and a bit rough is actually matching what I'm trying to achieve. So we are, first row nearly done. Then I'll turn the camera off, just get the rest of them done off camera when I get time, which is the biggest biggest issue I have at the moment. And I'll bring you back when it's finished and show you what it looks like. And the battery ran out. But anyway, there we are. We have the first, as I was just about to say, we have our first row. It's looking quite nice. Now I might actually let that dry entirely and only do one row at a time. So I might turn it around and do the other side and just let that dry, because they are a bit delicate, and hopefully it will stick. I'll report back once I've got 2 or 3 rows on, I think, and show you that whether it works or not, because if it doesn't, then we'll have to come up with another idea, maybe with super glue. We'll see. Well, I'm up to 4 courses. You can see that I am having to weight it down. Sometimes this side is actually okay, but the other side will start to lift a bit, but it's going okay. I really want to get this done, so I'm going to try and get 3 courses done today, finish it off, because Rosie wants to do some hobbying and I want to do some hobbying with Rosie. And what I'm thinking is I can work with Rosie to do the surround, so to do the base. So if I can get this done, then that's the next thing to do before I paint the roof. So yeah, going to crack on with this. Just keep doing basically a course, let it dry for a few hours, and maybe do another course at lunchtime. It's morning now, and then another course this evening, and then I should be able to do the ridge first thing tomorrow, and then me and Rosie can do some hobbying tomorrow. Here's hoping. Right, I've managed to achieve it. I've managed to get all of this roof done this week. It's now Friday morning, so what I'm about to do is glue on my ridge tile. Now I've decided to just go for a normal ridge tile. I'm going to paint it wooden, so it looks like it's wooden slats. So just a little bit more of exactly the same cardboard, folded in half. Put yourself some PVA glue on and put it in place. And I've just had a brainwave, which I wish I'd had earlier, so I'm going to share it with you now, which would have made the whole thing much easier, which I'll show you. So we'll put that on top, and obviously that needs to be pressed down. So what I've done is I've taken my what's-its and my weight things, taped them together carefully like that, so they go into an angle, and that now will stay and not fall off, and I don't need to like balance it with these squares like I was doing. So yeah, top tip, that's how you do that. So anyway, we'll leave that to dry. When that's dried, I'll cut that end off, and then we can get to painting. And that means that this weekend, as I said I would hope, and as I promised Rosie, there'll be some hobby time, which I'm very, very excited about. Well, that's all nice and dry now. So what I'm going to do now is going to start painting the roof. I'm going to try and get this done today, so that I can hobby with Rosie later on to do the basing work, and then this will be done finally. It's taken ages. I mean, this, if you weren't as busy as I've been, this build would take a couple of days probably, max. Really simple techniques and a really nice result. But I am as busy as I am, unfortunately, and that's meant that it's taken a long time. Good thing with this house paint which I use, because that's all I'm doing, I'm using this big pot of plastic house paint. If that showed properly, I'm not sure. There we are. Is it dries really quickly when it's on cardboard. It's already dry, that bit there. So you can do this really, really simply and really quickly, which is pretty cool. So yeah, just get this painted on, and then I'll come along and dry brush it grey. These being stones, I'm going to do it very simple. One thing you could do on this is add some more texture, similarly as I did on the walls. You could do grout on the top of this just to give it some texture, but I'm not going to do that for now. But that's an idea for another time maybe, or if you're doing this, an idea for you. So there we are, that's painted on. I will let that to dry completely, probably leave it, as I'm very busy, so probably leave it ages, but you can probably only leave that 10 minutes and it'll be dry, and then come along and do the dry brushing with the grey. But I'll do the dry brushing in a bit and show what it looks like when I get to it. I thought I'd get back to this sooner, but today has been, as per usual, crazily busy. So now I've just got a little bit of time to come along with my very, very dried out dark grey, which actually works really well for this dry brushing. So not arguing. So yeah, we're just going to dry brush it like this, getting some nice texture actually. It's pretty cool. And then I'll come back over in a bit and dry brush it again with the lighter grey. So you can see just how quick this technique is and how effective. There you are. And then hopefully we can get the basing done with Rosie. If not today, then tomorrow, we'll see. She's downstairs drawing at the moment, she didn't want to come up. So I let that dry, and then I come along with a lighter dry brush, and I'll bring it on when I get to that as well. Right, it's quite a few hours later. That seems to be traditional for me at the moment. And what I'm going to do, just going to use that as to take the paint off. What I'm going to do is come along with my light grey and just do a very light dry brush over the top of this roof, which will not take more than a few seconds. And then I think the roof is pretty much ready and done. There's a nice bit of variation. I may come back and do some more colours on it, but that's going to be good enough. Now, unfortunately, there was no time at all for me and Rosie to do any hobbying today, which I'm really gutted about because I really wanted to. Grandma arrives tomorrow, my mum, so that will make things a little easier because I won't have to do absolutely everything on my own, and maybe I'll be able to get some time tomorrow or Friday to hobby with Rosie because I really want to get this done this week. But it will be what it is. That is how it goes. Sometimes you can't do everything you want to do, but at least now we're ready to come along and put the rest of the scenery around it and then cut it out, and then it's finished, and I can start on the second, which is still, if I do a quick, you'll see how messy my room is, still down there on the floor. There's the second one, still marked out, which is going to have an interior and 2 floors, and that'll probably take me 3 months to build. Anyway, yeah, as soon as I can, I'll be back to do the final bits with Rosie. So we've got Rosie hobby time again, yay! So what we're going to do is we're going to be putting sand around the cardboard house. So we've got some watered down PVA. Rosie is in charge of the sand. So
I am not putting this down.
Right, yeah, so you're going to be putting it onto where I show you. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some sand here, and we'll do some of it on camera, and then we'll do the rest of it off camera because it's going to be a bit repetitive. But I'm going to put PVA glue around the base here. And when I tell you, you're to carefully, you don't need all that much, just get a little bit of sand inside your pot.
Is that enough?
That's probably too much, but it's fine. You can probably put a little bit of that back if you want to.
No, I don't want to.
All right, okay. So what we'll do, wait for me to finish doing this. Put a little bit back because it'll be a bit hard to cope with otherwise. Right, okay. So now get and scatter it very carefully where the glue is only. That's it. That's it. That's it. There we are. And then what we'll do is I will pick it up and shake it off back into the pot like so, and like magic we have some dirt around our house. So we're going to continue doing that all the way around the edges, let that dry, and I'll bring you back for the next step when we get to it. And hopefully you can help me because the next thing we're going to do is painting. So you like doing that, don't you?
Well,
there we are. Is it nice being back, doing some hobbying with Daddy?
yeah.
Yeah. Good. Right, what do you say?
Bye.
Bye. Rosie wanted to show her scattering technique, which has got very, very good. There we are. And have we finished doing our hobbying?
Yes, already.
Already finished. It was very short. Look at all that. And we finished doing the hobbying, and that's what it looks like. So there we are. And now she's covered in dust. Right, so when that's dry, we'll seal it and then we'll paint it, and I'll bring you back when we come to the painting. Right, so we're back hobbying with Rosie, and wait for a second while I show you what to do. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting the soil. So we've got some nice brown paint, and all you need to do, just very carefully come along and just paint it on. Make sure not to touch the building, so just stay away from the building and paint it on around here like this, yeah?
Okay.
So that's what we've got to do, and I will do up against the building. So you do not against the building, and I'll do up against the building. And together we can get all the sand painted a nice brown colour. Okay?
Okay.
So there we are. Let's turn it around a bit, yeah? Oh. Oopsie, don't matter. All sorted. Just be careful you don't do that. Right. Like this, so you get all the paint off. Don't do that. That's it. I'll go near the house, you stay away from the house. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. That has slipped. Let me get that back on. There we are, now we're stable again. Well, you don't need that much paint, just need little bits of paint. Don't get so much paint. It's okay.
That's enough.
Yeah, we're getting there. Let me just finish this and then I'll turn it round and we can do that other side. And then tomorrow we're going to do the grass, aren't we? There we are, that's that. So let's turn it around again.
If we have time.
If we have time tomorrow, yeah. So you don't need quite that much paint. Just like rub it in nicely, like that. There we are. Good girl, that's it. Just like that, yeah. Spread it all nicely out. And then the last bit. Wait a second. Let me move this round.
Oh, I have too much paint.
You do have too much. You keep scraping lots of paint out, don't you, darling? Yeah, just paint it on that. That's not a bad idea. The last bit is in here, so come on. This little bit here. Just stay away from the walls. I'll do near the walls. That's it. Perfect. Well done. We'll do the last little bit like this, and then put your brush down, and we'll let that dry. And then tomorrow we'll come and we'll do the grass on it. Yeah.
I got one on.
Oh dear. We'll have to wash your hands. Don't get it on you. Right. So say bye bye.
Bye bye.
So here we are again. Rosie's just woken up, haven't you, love?
Yeah.
And just come up and said, "Can we do the grass?" And so we're going to do the grass. So Rosie's going to be in charge of scattering and I'm going to be in charge of gluing. So let's see how well this can go. It is. I've not spoken very much today. Oh, there we are. Could almost not open that lid. So we'll take the lid off, which I probably should have done. Yeah, you've still got a bit of a cough, haven't you, love? Yeah, Rosie's sick off school at the moment. Right, so just wait 1 second. What we're going to do is we're going to paint.
Wait.
Yeah, going to paint some glue on here.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I want you to scatter it. You don't have to scatter it thickly, just scatter it thinly over the top of where I've put.
This?
Exactly. So, let me just get the glue. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to glue around the whole thing, because then you can do all of the what's it in one go. So let me just put all the glue on. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And after we've done this, you know, there's another stage. Do you know what that is?
Why?
We're going to put some flowers on.
Flowers.
Yeah, but we have to wait for it all to dry, so we can do that later today or tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow, because we have to let the glue dry.
Exactly. Right, so.
Flower?
Right, so we might put some flowers. We might put some flowers around. So, no, a little bit more. Well done. You spotted some I missed. It goes out there, doesn't it? Yeah, there we are. Good. Right, so no, that was just paint. Right, so if you want to do your scattering, love, that would be awesome. So just very carefully all over where there's glue. Right, not where there's not glue. Just scatter it around. There we are, and around the front. Very good. Very good indeed. Good technique, love. Keep going. And then when you've got everything you can reach, let me know, and I'll turn the building around. Yeah? Shall I turn the building around?
Yeah.
Because you've got this bit here to do. Very good. Well done. So I'll just get in and get this corner because it was a bit hard for you to reach. Do a little bit more. No, it's okay. You've done very well. I was just getting in where your hand wouldn't reach. Not on top of the building yet. We'll do that later. That's another one that we'll do later. Is on top of the roof. But for now, we're just doing the grass. So I want to do it on top of the roof with a slightly different colour. Right, you happy with that? So what we do now? No. Get your hand out. I need to move this now. Right, what we do now is shake it off. Okay. So we only keep the bits that we want to keep. So now we'll let that dry, like you said, and we'll come back to it later and do some more, okay?
Yeah.
Good girl, well done. So Rosie has chosen which flowers that she wants to go onto the, in front of the cottage. We're just going to put them in front of the two windows at the front here. So Rosie's decided what she wants, so I'm going to place them. I'll move that out of the way briefly. So you want blue ones here and red ones here, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so we're using the Serious Play Tufts, which I really like. So we'll grab this blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah? Dip it in some glue and stick it down there. And we'll just do a run them all the way along underneath the window. There we are. So that takes 3 tufts. And then she wants to have red ones on this side. Are these ones actually okay? So we'll have to open that.
I like this one.
You want a different one? Okay.
No.
Okay.
So it doesn't look...
These are more orange than red, aren't they? So which ones do you want? Which are these? Okay, they're the same as these ones, so we'll take them from down here. There we are. How about that? You like that?
Yeah, I love it.
There we are. So we have some nice flowers underneath the window, making it look really nice. So we'll let that dry and then we'll come back tomorrow and do a little bit more, okay?
Yeah, but I want more flowers.
Nah, but that's all the flowers we're putting on. I've told you. We're going to do something different for the other side and it's going to be fun. But we'll come to that tomorrow, okay?
I like it to be beautiful.
But it's a hovel. It's not supposed to be beautiful. This is all the beauty they can afford. Right, you. Say bye to the camera.
Bye-bye.
Well, we're back hobbying, aren't we, love? And we're going to do a little bit of coloured lichen on the roof. So what we've got is we've got this flock that I made, which is just sawdust with paint on it. We're going to do 2 colours. Rosie picked them, pink and purple. So what we're going to do first of all is I'm just going to put little dabs of glue around here, which will be where we put the purple. Okay, so
The pink.
and the pink we'll do as a second colour. So we're going to put dabs of glue on both sides, and Rosie is going to do the excellent scattering technique that you have for flock.
If we spill some onto that.
It's okay because there's no wet glue, so it won't cause a problem. It will just shake off, so don't worry. Right, so we've got a couple of blobs. So if you take a pinch and just very carefully scatter it over the top of those bits of glue, that's it, and a little bit elsewhere. Very good. And cover all of the bits. That's it. Don't worry, I'll shake it off, get some more, put it on. Any overspill doesn't matter. Careful. That's it, just that there. And we've got one bit here and one bit here. That's it, and then done there. That's it, good. So put that away. So what we'll do now is we'll try and shake as much of that back into our pot as we can so that we don't lose it. There we are, some got back in the pot there, didn't it? Oops. To be fair, we can probably take this off of this clump now. And then we're going to do the other colour.
Whereabouts the left one?
Same idea. So wait for it. We need to put some new glue. I need to do some new glue spots. So put a bit of spot here, and 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 there. Right, so.
I want one here.
You want another one there?
Yeah.
Done. Okay, so now use your pink and put your pink on. Same way.
It looks nice.
Yeah. And then we'll shake it off. Don't put too much. Don't put too much. Just enough as you need. Don't take such big pinches. You don't need so much in your hand. You've got enough in your hand to do all of it. And then one bit over here. It's tiny. No, tiny. Don't do a whole hand. Just between the 2 fingers. Just between these 2 fingers. Just a small amount. That's it. That's it. See? So there's plenty in there, wasn't it? Right, so that's done. So we'll let that dry, and then we'll work out what we're going to do next, because I don't think we're completely finished, but we're close to finished. So what do you say, Roo?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Right then, so we are finishing this up, aren't we, love? Yeah. And then we're going to get started on the next of the cardboard houses.
It's going to be mine.
Yeah, so what we're going to do on this one now, and we won't film it very much, But all I'm going to do is going to come along with my sharp scissors, and I'm going to cut along the edge of the house. And I'm doing this because these scissors are super sharp, and we're going to cut all the way around, and then it'll be done. So we'll get that done, and then we'll bring it back and show you what it looks like. Right, Roo, so I actually did the cutting because they're very sharp, but that's what it looks like. Are you pleased with it, love? But you wanted more colours, didn't you? Yeah, so we'll do another one. I'll start another project, and Rosie will join me on that as well, and we'll do a second cardboard house.
I want it to be, the roof is going to be red with those stuff.
Okay, so we'll do red tiles on the roof. That's a really nice idea. We'll do red tiles. So anyway, so that's finally finished. It's taken me weeks longer than I thought it would, but I think it looks quite nice. Well then, I think you can agree that the results of this build were massively improved by Rosie's input, with all the lovely flowers and lichen and everything that she was absolutely determined to add, and you can't knock that. But ultimately, it's a great looking building. It's going to look really good on the tabletop, really easy to make, and cheap, because it's using stuff that would normally just be thrown away, which is the best price. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if this has inspired you to give a go on making things out of slightly more normal materials, rather than trying to find some custom materials and that most terrain builders use. I'd be really fascinated to hear that if that's the case. And I'll wrap up by saying, as I always do, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. And everyone do please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.